dream come true for the CIA.
Much of the credit belongs to CIA agent Mark Zuckerberg, who runs the day-to-day Facebook operation for the agency. The decorated agent, codenamed the Overlord, was recently awarded the prestigious Medal of Intelligence Commendation for his work with the Facebook program, which he has called, quote, the single most powerful tool for population control ever created. Among the biggest successes of the Facebook program is Operation Farmville, which the CIA credits with pacifying as many as 85 million people after unemployment rates rose dramatically. Other features, such as the suggested friends window, have been instrumental in allowing government agents to infiltrate deeper into the friend networks of suspected dissidents. For some expert analysis now on the story, let's check in with FactZone's first responders. Jason, you have written extensively about the Facebook program. Why is it so effective?
Well, one of the key reasons is that the CIA has been so thorough in convincing the nation that constantly sharing information about everything that you're doing is somehow desirable instead of deeply unsettling.
Yeah. You know, the critics are saying that with the national debt being so high, is this really the time to be spending even more money on spy programs?
Well, actually, the Facebook program saves the CIA money. That's right. Like the Maps application where you list every place that you've been, whether it's at the state or a country or...
Oh, right, and with the little pins, they show where you visited. Yeah,
yes.
I like that.
That kind of information would have taken the CIA months of going through hotel receipts and plane tickets to figure it all out. The manpower that Facebook saves is huge.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the calendar feature even lets the CIA know where you're going to be in advance. So that's
right, so now if they want to pick you up for questioning, all they have to do is see which events you RSVP'd yes to and then send their agents to be waiting for you.
That's how they got my brother.
Yeah, right. So effective. But guys, with all the focus on the Facebook program, is it taking away from some of the other CIA programs like the Twitter initiative?
Oh, yeah, the funding for that should be cut entirely.
Right, 400 billion tweets and not one useful bit of data was ever transmitted.
Now, is this trend of social network information gathering dangerous? I mean, just last week, the New York Times revealed that Al-Qaeda has designed Foursquare to identify popular locations for bombing.
Actually, Brooke, that's been discredited as any kind of real threat. The people that use that site are people that no one would mind seeing bombed anyway.
Yeah,
So.
really, the only thing the CIA has to be concerned about is people losing interest in Facebook and moving on to a new social network site, like the Chinese site Wanbi.
I love that.
Are you guys on Wanbi?
Oh my God, it's so much more fun than Facebook.
It is great.
I love that one.
I love that you can earn friend points the more state secrets that you post. You know, I've got a lot of contacts in the State Department. You know, I think I could really rack them up.
Post them up.
I should.
All right, first responders, thank you so much as always. You know, I'm, of course...
Well, that's why I don't RSVP to events on Facebook. Except for this conference, of course.
From a pedagogical perspective, if you start your training with that video, or you start your training and have another one, and I'll pass on the links with respect to Google and privacy and the opt-out village of Google, I think it gets people at least thinking about things in a humorous way, because to the extent that almost all the points, although we laughed at them, they're true. And it gets you thinking about stuff. So I thought I would bring that up because the consciousness that people have about what all that information that they put up there could be used for, you know, they're just not thinking about it that way. A lot of times it's innocent. You're putting stuff in there, you're telling people what you're doing, you're excited about what you're doing or where you're going, and they're not thinking that someone else could be tracking that.
I don't know that there's never been anything useful posted on Twitter before. Maybe one or two.
Some people apply for jobs using 140 characters to describe their resume.
You know, if
That's
they,
a big challenge.
If they can, good for them.
Yeah, and one final thought as we're closing out this session. To the extent that I was reading somewhere that with most new technologies, they usually take and maybe it was something even for this conference, they usually take the youngest person, the most hip person, the person closest to university age, and put that person in charge of doing those kinds of things because it's unfamiliar to us old fogies. To the extent that these kinds of technologies and methods of communicating and sharing, I think in today's interconnected, interdependent world, there needs to be a lot of good adult supervision and a lot of good institutional history and a little bit of gravitas in terms of thinking through how to use this, but to use it in a way that's going to get the biggest bang for the buck, that's going to be safe, and that's really going to achieve the mission in the long term. It's not, I mean, to the extent that, I mean, the cool factor is great, but the question is not, you know, can you do it? You know, answer should always be like, so what? So all these tools do all these neat things. So what? How is that going to move us closer to whatever it is that we're trying to do? And if it can do that, then great. Then you should leverage it and then figure out how to leverage it in a safe way. I don't know if you have any final.
No, I think that sums it up right there.
Any last thoughts from anyone?
So perhaps there's a market for social media responsibility. Because quite honestly, the fact that you were able to carry out what you've done in the Federal Reserve is rather scary.
Maybe, maybe not. I would like to think. I would like to think it's a good thing because it's about getting the job done,
Yeah.
and that's what's more important than anything else.
It's great reach as long as somebody you don't want isn't reaching into you.
Yeah. Well, please fill out the evaluation forms and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you for coming.